welcome to Two Diabetes Chat. I have the pleasure of being here this afternoon with Karen Graffeo. Karen is a longtime blogger, longtime person who works in the diabetes community. It is such a thrill. I also have to say that Karen is the person who gave me my start really in blogging outside of Two Diabetes, and for that I am so thrilled. Karen, welcome to Two Diabetes and our chat this afternoon. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm doing good. I'm so excited to be here, and I love that. If I had any small part in getting your voice heard, I just love to hear that. So thank you.
So you're in the New York area. We always start with a restaurant recommendation. Give us a good pizza recommendation around your house.
Oh,
or a good Italian.
You have
anywhere in the city.
Pizza. You have to go to Pepe's in New Haven, Connecticut. That's the original one. They've got a couple other locations now, but Pepe's Pizza is it. It's written up in travel magazines, and it's kind of a hole in the wall, and the menu is like on the blackboard behind you, and the wine glasses are just like jelly jars, but it's the best pizza.
So what kind of crust do they have? Is it a traditional New York big slice, or?
It's a thinner crust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Which
helps me with a little less carbs.
Yeah. Well, same here. If you ever interview me, you can ask me about a pizza place.
I can't ask you now?
No.
Okay. That's good. I'll find a reason to interview you somewhere, and I'm going to ask you.
So let's talk about D-Blog Week. D-Blog Week's coming up in a couple of weeks. This is our 7th annual D-Blog Week. Can you talk a little bit about what D-Blog Week is and maybe how it got started?
Sure. So D-Blog Week, or Diabetes Blog Week for long, is a week where any participating diabetes bloggers come together. Each day there is a set prompt, and everyone writes their opinions and views on that day's prompts. And then there is a master list of everyone who's participating, and people can link their posts, and the community can jump around and take a look at what everyone has to say. And it started back in 2010. Before I had my diabetes blog, I had a knitting blog, which still exists, but I never post there anymore because I'm too busy with all the diabetes stuff. My attention has kind of shifted. But there was a knit and crochet blog week that I participated in, and it was fantastic. I met so many new bloggers that I didn't know yet, and I really felt like it brought our community together. And I thought, geez, someone should do that for the diabetes blog community. And my husband said, well, why don't you do it? And I couldn't think of a good reason not to, so I did. I wasn't sure anyone would be interested in participating, but that first year we had 142 people sign up, which completely blew me away. And then again, I was blown away at the end of the week when people said, well, we're going to do this every year, right? And here we are 7 years later getting ready for another round of it.
Well, I know it's grown every year that I participate, and I think this will be my 3rd year. And I think last year, did we have 182 bloggers sign up?
I looked this all up because I knew you were going to ask me. 195 last year.
195.
And as many as 240. That was our best year. But any year that we even get, anyone signing up besides me, in my opinion, is a great year. So.
Well, I think last year we had almost 800 blogs written. Was that correct?
Oh, I didn't look that up, but yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, which is a phenomenal number. And when you attempt to go through and read the blogs for each week, it really provides volumes of reading material for an extended period of time. I'm still reading some of last year's.
Yeah, that's it's a good problem to have, but I'm getting to the point where I can no longer keep up and read every single post that's written and comment to every single person. I try my best, and I do try to, spend a significant amount of time visiting the blogs of everyone who's supporting and participating. But it's starting to get away from me a little bit more and more each year. But that's a good thing the way I see it.
Well, it's a good thing in ways that you may not recognize. For instance, the Two Diabetes blog page on the front page, all the bloggers who participated in D-Blog Week last year are in that group, and we survey each new blog that's written from that group each night, and try to make a comment. If we think it's community worthy, then we post it on the community site. And that's the way you get in the list. People have asked me, how did I make it into this list, or if I want to be added to the list. Well, I say, first of all, start a diabetes blog, and second, your best way is to participate in D-Blog Week, because that's how you get there. So I think that's probably had ramifications beyond your initial thought. Do you think, and of course it does because of RA Blog Week.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't know it, I took the concept and started RA Blog Week in September, and it's also been successful. So obviously the concept is well received. Do you think that D-Blog Week has been able to generate community around joint blogging on similar topics?
I certainly hope so. I think, to me, the most important thing about Diabetes Blog Week, or one of the most important things, is to connect us all to each other. That is really where my motivation started that very first year, to kind of connect us all and let us all give our perspectives and make us feel more bonded. It's also very important to me that the topics can be written by any diabetes blogger, whether you're a type 1 or a type 2 or the parent of a child with diabetes or a spouse or significant other of someone with diabetes, whatever the diabetes connection. If you blog about Diabetes Blog Week, I want you to be able to weigh in on the topic, because I think we need that in our community. Sometimes we get splintered into our little individual subcategories of diabetes, which I guess can sometimes be a good thing, but overall I'd like us all to stand united and kind of blog together for the week.
We do have a question. We have someone who's asked if you have any advice for new bloggers who might be participating in Blog Week or be thinking about participating in Blog Week this year.
Well, please do. I would love it if you did. I guess my biggest advice is just have fun with it. I don't want anyone to feel any kind of pressure from Diabetes Blog Week. This year we've cut the week down from 7 days of blogging to 5 days of blogging. And people worry, what if something happens and I can't post all 5 days? That's okay. Just post. It's better if people can post all 5 days, but if they can't, there's no penalty. There's no, we're all in it together and it should be fun. So just kind of have fun with it. Remember, there's no right or wrong answers to any of the prompts. It's just start from there and see where it takes you and give your opinion, and that's really the most important thing. Just letting us know you a little better and understand what you think.
You know, the first 2 years I blogged using Two Diabetes, and I know last year we had a blogger who did the same. And basically, the way that works is you just go and start a topic, uh, post the prompt as your topic. Uh, Post then the words that you want to put in concerning that topic. Then be sure and go to the uplink side, copy that link, and post it on the community uplink, and it'll be there for everybody to see. So if you don't have a blog presently, but you are a Two Diabetes regular, you can still participate in D-Blog Week. And that's how I got to start. I think at least the first year, I know I did it that way, and maybe in the first two. And that gets you both recognition inside the community, but it also gives people a chance to view your blogs outside the community. And one other thing, be sure and sign up on the sign up page. And when will signups be available, Karen?
Those are going to start this coming Monday, the 9th, yes, the 9th. So I'll have a post up, hopefully fairly early Eastern Standard Time in the morning where I am. And there's a little form that it asks for your name, email address, blog URL. I think that's about all. And you sign up, and then I add you to the master participant list. That list is not up yet, but that'll be going live on Monday also once people start signing up, and I have people to add to the participant list. And that stays up forever, so you can look back and see who participated each year, or if you're looking to find some new blogs to read, that those lists are always there for everyone to see.
If you're going to use the Two Diabetes site, you can put in www.twodiabetes.org as your website, and that will work on the sign-up page if you do not have a separate blog.
Exactly.
So Karen, the topics are posted for this year, and there are several that are very interesting.
I just want to say, so as of a few years ago, it started getting harder and harder for me to think of topics. So I started asking the community to help come up with topics, because I want this to be our event, not my event, and it's probably the best decision I ever made, because this year, every single topic up there, I didn't come up with any of them. They were all suggestions that I got on a survey this year, and so I just want to thank everyone who continues to contribute topic suggestions to me. I couldn't come up with this without you.
Well, I think that's very important. That's an important lesson that you taught me in setting up our A-Blog Week. I went to the community to help me select topics, and I think it made it more meaningful for the community. Let's look at some of the blogs you have. Message Monday, which I think is going to be the most intriguing topic of the week. Tell us a little bit about Message Monday.
That it's the only one that I know who suggested it, because she told me when she typed it in the anonymous survey. That was from the wonderful Heather Gable, who is so smart and such a good friend to all of us. It's about what your most important diabetes awareness message is, and why it's so important to you, and why you're sharing it on your blog. And I thought that was not only an interesting thing to hear, why everyone is here in this space and what is most important to us, but it's a good kind of introduction as we hop around and find bloggers who we don't know yet. I really felt like it'll help us get to know each other.
You know, last year I found Molly Schreiber um, through Blog Week.
And then you're at Jax's, sir?
Yeah,
Yep.
right. And what was so intriguing about Molly to me was that she also had RA. And it's the only blogger I've connected with that has both diabetes and RA. But I found her because of a topic much like this, and that's awesome. Otherwise, we never would have connected. Um, Topic two, um, the other half of diabetes. Tell us about that one.
It's about the mental side, the emotional side of diabetes. This one, actually, several of these topics, I got many suggestions that were similar, and sometimes I kind of meshed the suggestions together into one topic. There was definitely a lot of interest on writing about mental health and diabetes this year. So it's just a day to talk about how diabetes can affect you or your loved ones if you're a caregiver, mentally and emotionally. Or as a caregiver, you could talk about how diabetes affects you as you care for your loved one with diabetes, or how it affects your person with diabetes. There's just, most topics have so many ways to go, and I never want to limit anyone. And then how you pull yourself out of a funk, or encouraging things to tell yourself, or tips and tricks to kind of keep it together emotionally, because that's not always easy when we live 24/7 with this condition.
I think that that will receive probably the most comments during the week. Emotional issues pertaining to diabetes are such a hot topic in our community, have been for many years. It's one of the few things that I think our community worries about a great deal, but doesn't get discussed as much in the doctor's office.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the real values of the Diabetes Online community, is that issues like this can be discussed.
Right. For me, that's the hardest part of it. I was diagnosed in 1979, so I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm to the point where, like, the needles don't bother me, the physical stuff doesn't I mean, I don't love jabbing myself with needles and squeezing, blood from my finger, but it's second nature. It's more the emotional side that I struggle with these days. So I could definitely relate to this as well. And like I said, many people suggested it, so it seemed like a good way to go and something valuable we could all discuss.
So for Wednesday, it's language and diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really interesting topic. And can you tell us about that one?
Yeah, it's about the importance of talking about diabetes in a non-stigmatizing, non-judgmental way. I think sometimes, well, often people on the outside of the diabetes community, I think, talk to us in a stigmatizing and very judgmental way, and probably don't even realize they're doing it. But sometimes even I'm guilty of saying something that comes out a little judgy to one of my friends with diabetes, and then I have to dial back and apologize, and gee, I didn't mean that the way it sounded. So it's a day to examine what words bother you, what words don't bother you, how you want people to talk to you, and how we can all kind of be a little kinder to each other and use words that aren't so negative when speaking. One of the examples is person with diabetes versus diabetic. To me, either way doesn't bother me, but I try really hard to use person with diabetes because I don't want to offend someone else who it does bother, because that's their right, and if that's how they feel, then I want to be respectful of that.
I think the two of us must have grown up in the same time frame, because diabetic does not bother me at all. I was diagnosed in '74, so
yeah.
to me, that's just what I was called. And person with diabetes is a newer phrase, which means the same thing, but doesn't mean the same thing to some people. So I think that's an excellent example.
I get the idea of diabetic can be like a defining label, and I would never want it to be like that. I guess personally, I've never felt that way. Like I'm a wife, I'm a brunette. Well, I dye my hair, so now I'm a redhead. But I'm a sister, I'm a daughter, I'm a diabetic. Like I look at it the same. But for someone else, if they see that as a label, a defining label, I would never want to do that to someone.
Well, I'm a person without hair, or without much hair. But I used to be a redhead.
We'll call you person without hair.
But I used to be a redhead, so labels change, and that's, I was talking to a type 2 friend of mine the other day, and he had received a different diagnosis of from type 2 to adult onset diabetes, and he was talking about labels, and we had a very interesting conversation because I remember going to a new doctor and being told, I had a nice visit, and at the end of the visit, the doctor duly clicked that I was a type 2 diabetic. There you go, type 2 person with diabetes. And I said, no, I'm a type 1 person with diabetes. And he said, well, you're just older and you came to me and this is our first visit, and so he just clicked the wrong. Well, I had to reevaluate what it meant. Was I stigmatizing something that I should not have been doing? And it was really an eye-opening experience on a number of levels, not the least of which is I got it turned back to type 1 eventually, but the guy always called me a type 2, still does. And I've been seeing him now, for 6 or 7 years, but it really is one disease with different causes. And so the label is not terribly important unless it is.
Unless it's affecting your treatments.
Yeah, unless it's affecting insurance or a number of other things. Hey, your kitty's behind you. She decided to come down and join the conversation. So the next day, on Thursday, is the healthcare experience. Tell us about that one.
Oh, I really like this one. It's about how you would improve or change your healthcare experience. What you'd like to see happen during medical visits with your healthcare team, and how about when you're dealing with your health insurance companies, healthcare wish lists or biggest frustrations. I just thought there's a lot of places we can go in that one. There's people with diabetes, or I would probably go out on a limb and guess that anyone with a chronic illness. We spend a lot of time with doctors and insurance companies and medical teams and all that, and there's always room for improvement, or if a physician or an experience is so great, that's another good thing to share. It doesn't always have to be complaining. Sometimes we should also recognize the great care we receive. So I thought that would be a good topic.
So Friday is tips and tricks, and that's the full range of diabetes, all the way from tips and tricks about things we might do, ways we might see diabetes, any tip or trick. Tell us about anything about that topic.
Kind of a repeater of a topic. I think we've done this at least once before, if not several times before, but it's always a wildly popular day, and I know every year I learn something I never thought of before. a tip or trick. You know, after living with diabetes for almost 36 years, I can still find new tips and tricks that people are contributing, and it was suggested by a couple different sources, so I thought it might be a fun one to round out the week. Yeah, no tip or trick is too little or too big.
Now, this is the cool part because there are two optional topics, and a writer can take D-Blog week on into the weekend,
right,
and do Saturday and Sunday, or they can substitute one of the daily topics for one of the wild cards. Tell us about the two wild cards.
Sure. Well, the reason I have wild cards is because I don't expect any one topic I try as hard to make them as universally as appealing as I can, but some people may just not have anything to say about a day's topic, and I get that. So I like to have a couple different options that you could use or not use. And these are both ones that are always greatly requested every year. The first one is about food, giving a log, document everything you or your loved one with diabetes eats that day, good, bad, and ugly, so to speak. And none of us are going to judge. I like to qualify that. We're not here to judge anyone. We're just kind of here to be honest and talk about how food can be difficult and challenging for us and what we try to eat. And the second wild card is about exercise, because that's another big one for, I think, for all people with diabetes. Myself, I don't like to exercise, so I struggle with it all the time. I don't get as much as I should get, and thought we could talk a little bit about the difficulties trying to keep your blood sugar right in the zone where you can work out, and trying to stay motivated, and talk a little bit about different kinds of exercises we like to do, because maybe you know, we can help each other discover other ways to be active.
What a great set of topics. I am so excited to tackle them this year. I think it's going to be a terrific opportunity, again, to bring our community together, to build community, really, both and to reconnect with people old and new, who people that we maybe haven't talked to in a while, and find new people that we share interests, perspectives, or situations with. I think it's a tremendous opportunity, and I cannot thank you enough for doing this, Karen. It is just a beautiful, beautiful way to build community.
Every year when I go through all the different topic suggestions I get, it just drives home how smart and talented and creative our community is, and I'm really thankful for all the people who pitch in and create such wonderful topics that I can use for the week, that we all can use for the week. But I agree, the list is fantastic, and I deserve no credit whatsoever. They all came from you guys, the community.
So another question, are there social media banners that can be used during this week?
There's a button and a banner. Those will also be posted on Monday. The same, I do a long post that kind of goes through all the information you need to know about Diabetes Blog Week, and there'll be the HTML codes to copy the banner and the button, or whichever one you want to use. That'll be there, and then the form to fill out to sign up for Diabetes Blog Week. It'll all be on the front page of my blog on Monday.
And those are available to be used. A blogger can use them on their site, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So on Facebook, if you wanted to put them on Facebook or Twitter, I would much rather see your guys' faces, but if you want to pop up the button for the week for Twitter, feel free.
And is there a hashtag on Twitter that is generally used?
DBlogWeek. And in the post on Monday too. But yeah, I've
Okay.
always used D-Blog Week, which is a little on the long side, but I've never been shortened to the point. So
Uh, are there are there tie-ins to other social media? Uh, like, is there a Facebook page for D-Blog Week or anything like that?
that's something that's brand new this year. So in this survey, this was the first year I put out a survey before Diabetes Blog Week, just to kind of get a feel from the community, what's working for you guys, what isn't working, and get suggestions and stuff. And that was a great thing that someone suggested, that Diabetes Blog Week should have its own Facebook page. It never occurred to me to do that, but I've created it. I think it's facebook.com/Diabetes Blog Week, maybe.
Okay.
I think that's
We'll
what.
find it.
But I think
We'll
if you
find
go to Facebook and just search Diabetes Blog Week, you'll be able to find it. There's a little bit of information up there. The link to the topics we just discussed is there. And as we move closer to the week and I have more and more stuff to share with you guys, it'll all be there. And I plan every day during Blog Week to post that day's topic. So if anyone, it's an easy place for people to go and find it. And non-bloggers, if you want to jump in, you can leave your comment, on Monday when I post the Monday topic. Feel free to leave us a comment right there on the page.
Yeah, we like comments. It encourages better blogging. Better comments encourage better blogging, I think. So let's talk a little bit about blogging. You write perhaps one of the top 5 blogs in the diabetes realm. Tell us how you got started and what gave you the impetus and where you find your ideas at.
Sure.
Also, let me point out that the blog is bittersweet, and it's bittersweet.net. Is that correct?
No, it's actually bittersweetdiabetes.com.
Okay.
Because last time I looked, bittersweet.com was a chocolate company, so I couldn't. So it's bittersweetdiabetes.com. Again, nice and long. I like to keep everything long. So I started. Well, I mentioned earlier I started out as a knitting blogger, which was kind of good because I learned a lot. Like, by the time I started diabetes blogging, I kind of had my feel for it a little bit. I kind of knew what I was doing. Not really, because I'm always learning more, but I at least kind of knew what a blog was and knew what HTML was and all that. But my doctor wanted to put me on an insulin pump, and I wanted no part of it. I was freaked out at the idea, so I Googled wearing an insulin pump or hiding an insulin pump so no one can see it, and found that there was a whole diabetes blog community out there. I found Carrie at 6 Until Me, which for a lot of us, that's the first blog we've landed on, and couldn't be a better one in my opinion. And the more I jumped around, I found out that a lot of people on pumps felt the same way I did before they started, which was totally foreign to me because my endo didn't really get it. He's great. He didn't push me towards a pump, but he couldn't understand why I was freaked out at the idea. So just to find a bunch of people who felt the same way and then went ahead and started pumping anyway and had great success with it, kind of made me think maybe I could be brave enough to try it too. And I did. I'm a happy pumper for the past 7 years, 8 years, 10 years. I don't know. It all kind of blurs in. And I guess the main feeling was it was the first time I didn't feel so alone. It was the first time I realized there were people out there who felt the way I did and had the experiences I did. And I knew I wanted to be a part of this community, and so I started a diabetes blog, and haven't regretted it a single time, a single day.
Where do you get your ideas from?
That's that's a good question because I've been kind of quiet lately because I almost feel like I'm running out of ideas. So I could really use some advice on where to get ideas from. But mainly it's just what's happening in my life. It's mainly just sharing struggles and triumphs. I write a lot about like the scary stuff, a bad low that freaks me out. I think writing kind of helps me process it. And just any little thing to do with diabetes that seems like something I want to share, I do. I don't really try not to put anything off limits. The only one experience I've never shared is the one and only time I had glucagon injected, and it was a couple years ago, and still haven't quite gotten myself to the point where I'm brave enough to share that experience. Maybe someday I will, but I've been told that it's okay if I don't. We can have some stuff to ourselves as well. I don't know. But
Well,
basically, I'm an open book, and if it happens to me, I'm willing to splatter it on my blog.
well, you know, the last time I had it injected, I woke up naked with 8 firemen standing around looking at me
Oh, that sounds like
on
a
the floor.
good
Yeah. And when I woke up, I said, "Where's the party, guys?"
night. This is the thing I like because glucagon, it's a traumatic thing, but I like when we can come together, those of us who have experienced things, come together and kind of laugh about it too, because
Yeah,
sometimes
I
we
do too.
need that to release it. But I am sorry you went through that, and I'm sorry for the 8 firemen who got an eyeful as well.
Well, I tell you what, when you wake up and there are 8 firemen, you and your wife in the room, and you went to bed and it was just you and your wife, you got to think that something crazy is going on.
Yeah, that's got to be scary.
Yeah, and that's when you hope it's diabetes.
The rest of the house is still...
Yeah. Whoops.
Oh, gosh.
Well, I mean, it's not as bad as waking up in the Charlotte airport when you got in the airplane for Orlando. You know, when the when you wake up and you're in the middle of the Charlotte airport and you're on a stretcher and you look at the rescue guy and you say, you know, where am I? And he says, Charlotte. And I said, no. I got on the airplane for Orlando. And he said, yeah, you took a little bit of a detour.
Did you have clothes on?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Okay.
I did.
Thank goodness for small favors, right?
Yeah, no kidding. So, what's been one of your most talked about or most successful blogs that you've written?
I got to be honest and say I don't know because I don't really know how I gauge success of blogs. I think any post that any one person connects with and can say, oh, me too, that's successful. I don't tend to pay a lot of attention to traffic and comments and all that. But one that comes in mind that I didn't realize when I was writing it how beneficial it could be was about a bad low blood sugar I had. And I don't have them often. I'm lucky that generally I can handle lows really well. But every so often there's one where I kind of lose time and, you know, whatever, get really confused. And my husband had helped me and, you know, got me back. And I wrote about it. I wrote about the symptoms. I wrote about, you know, how I didn't know what was going on and what my husband did. And other blogger who's diagnosed late in adulthood and still kind of new to this journey printed it out and gave it to her husband to read so he could see what could happen when she has a low like that. And that just meant so much to me. Like I said, a lot of time I write it, it's like therapy for me, but if that helped her and her husband at all be a little more prepared for something that might come, I really can't think of a better post than that.
Well, you gave me the best advice that anybody's ever given me when you told me to be sure that the blog makes me happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep that advice in my mind all the time because, sometimes, like all bloggers, I think, oh, I don't want to write today.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want to. And then I have to think to myself, well, if I don't really want to write, then don't feel obligated because your blog is primarily to make you happy.
Mm-hmm.
And if other people read it, that's fantastic. But if they don't, that's okay
Mm-hmm.
because truly it's about what makes you happy.
Exactly.
And Karen, you gave me that advice, and it's advice that I think about every time I sit down to write a blog. Every time I edit myself, every time I think, oh, I don't want to write about that, or I shouldn't write about that, or I can't write about that, I fall back and I say, what makes me happy?
Mm-hmm.
And also, every time I have to write about something, I also say the same thing, what makes me happy?
Uh-huh.
Hey, we got another view of your kitty there.
Yeah, I didn't think she'd come up. She had a really scary experience on the desk earlier. She stepped on a paper and it moved, and she was terrified, but brave, she's back. Yeah, I looked at my blog a couple days ago and realized I didn't post anything for the whole month of April, and I felt really bad about that. I spent a whole month, didn't write a single post, but then I thought about it. You know what? I didn't have anything to say. And I think if we try to force ourselves when there's nothing we feel compelled to write about, it's going to come through. I think the best blogs are when we're authentic and we have something to say and we say it. And the other side of the coin, too, is that there are a lot of great blogs out there. And I don't want to put up a cruddy post just for the sake of posting something and wasting people's time reading a bunch of drivel when they could be on, someone else who has something important to say. So, yeah, I don't like the radio silence my blog is experiencing right now, but I will be back. I'll have more to write about. Definitely Diabetes Blog Week. Hopefully it's going to jumpstart me, and if I don't have anything to say, I don't want to waste anybody's time by saying a bunch of crap.
Well, you will have a terrific amount of traffic related to Blog Week. I just know you will. Matter of fact, I'm struggling right now with how to keep up with Blog Week over on the Two Diabetes page. I mean, I know that there's just no way we can keep up with that. And
a big suggestion in the what would make Diabetes Blog Week better for you was need more time in the day. I wish I could make the days longer, guys, but I can't do that. Or wish I could have the week off. You can try. Tell your boss you have to take the week off. I'll write you a note if you want, and if they go for it, that's good. But yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of blogs out there during Diabetes Blog Week, and it's getting impossible to keep up. But that's good.
So, what have you seen in the growth of the diabetes online community since you started? What kind of evolution have you seen in it?
I think we're definitely shifting focus from just sharing our own experiences to banding together and trying to make things better for everyone with diabetes overall, be it advocacy efforts, be it government advocacy, be it educational materials, be it support. I just feel like that's exploded from from when I started my blog in 2008, and I love every piece of it. I find I tend to kind of go a little more towards the support side, and making sure people don't ever feel alone. But I think all of the initiatives that our community has out there are important and necessary, and I'm so glad to see all the passion out there. I think if we each, work on the piece that speaks to our hearts, we're all gonna win.
I think so too. I think that I have noticed in the last 2 years that I've had my blog external from 2Diabetes, that so much passion and I can't even say the word, advocacy word. I'm sorry. You guys know what I'm talking about. Has really evolved.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great thing. And I can say advocate, but I can't put this on the end of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, every single initiative out there is an important one, and there's, as we've said, the diabetes community has grown, and there's so many of us. So I feel like if everyone works on whatever little piece they're most passionate about, then we have accomplished a lot, and I feel like we all can accomplish even more.
I think that one of the hallmarks of 2Diabetes is that we believe nobody should ever be alone with diabetes. That is the trademark of our community. It is what we tend to hang our hat on.
Right.
But I've also found that in the greater online community, it's pretty much the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody should feel alone with diabetes. And because of that, we found so many avenues to join together. And in Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, on the various communities, I just see diabetes becoming much more community oriented,
Mm-hmm.
even in the last 2 years that I've been blogging.
I think that's what drew a lot of us into the diabetes community. Definitely for me, it absolutely was. I felt so alone with diabetes for the majority of my life. I didn't know anyone else who had diabetes, and it was not. I just felt different from everyone. So to finally find a whole bunch of people who got it and understood the stuff I was going through, and even if you don't even really need anyone to solve a problem for you or give you advice necessarily. Even if they just say, "Oh, God, it sucks. I know. I've been there." For me, that's like the best feeling in the world, and that's what can help me keep moving forward, just to know that someone else understands the path that I'm on.
Is that what is that the reason that you think you started blogging, is to connect with others?
Absolutely.
Or was it primarily an expression, a personal expression?
No, it was more to connect with others. I felt like if I just wanted to talk about diabetes, I could do that on my knitting blog. I had a little bit in the past, but I felt like if I really wanted to be a part of the community and connect with other people, I needed to have a separate knitting blog. Looking back now, I think that was wrong. I think that our community will embrace you no matter where you're sharing, what platform you're writing on. It could be a knitting blog, it could be a Facebook page, it could be a 2Diabetes forum. There are many ways to connect, but at that point in my mind, I felt like if I really wanted to connect with the community, I needed to have a dedicated diabetes blog. Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, I know that I could have connected without a diabetes blog, but I've never regretted starting my blog either. So it all worked out the way it was supposed to, I guess.
Well, I know that I feel the same way. I blogged for about a year and a half on 2Diabetes, switching over to um, the larger diabetes online community. Um, I'm still connected, obviously, with 2Diabetes, but I'm also, I plugged into something that, for a while, I didn't even know it was out there. It was actually Marie who said, "Hey, do you know that there is something outside of 2Diabetes?" And I said, "No, I had no idea." And she's the one that connected me into it.
Right.
And I think your blog was probably the second one I found. And again, I'm just so thrilled that you gave me a chance and let me go out and experience the online community outside of my smaller community. And I'm so appreciative of that, Karen.
I feel like, our community has grown. There's so many of us, but each and every person is important. Every single voice that's in the community sharing their views and opinions, we need them all. So, I'm happy for anyone who engages, and if anyone is thinking about starting a blog, I sounds self-promotional to say go ahead and do it during Diabetes Blog Week, but I don't mean it to be that way. I just mean if that's the little shove you need to get you into our community, then take it, do it, give it a shot. If you don't like it, then don't post anymore. But if you feel like you want to try it, please do, because we need you. We need your voices. We need you to share your experiences.
Karen, that is one of the most wonderful things that I've heard anybody say, and I think we'll end it there. Do you have anything that you would like to tell us that we haven't talked about?
No, I think you were a great interviewer, and I just really appreciate you guys giving me the time to chat today, and it's been a wonderful experience. I will admit I was nervous beforehand, as Rick knows. I told him I always get nervous before these things, but it has been a wonderful hour.
Karen, we are so pleased to have you, and again, on behalf of 2Diabetes, I want to thank you for the many things you do for our community, many of which we have not even touched on. You are a wonderful representative of our community. We are so we are so thankful to have somebody of your caliber and your dedication, and so thankful to have a person who shares his passion. And again, you can find Karen at Bittersweet. This is her logo behind me, and I'm telling you, it is one of the 5 best blogs that's out there. Take a run over and take a look. You will find her to be a terrific blogger, a very honest blogger, and you will also find D-Blog Week on Karen's site. And this is Bittersweet is where you'll find it. And I hope everybody jumps off, takes a look, and gets involved in the diabetes community in whatever way you want to be. You can be a blogger, you can be an advocate, you can help us in the 2Diabetes community do things to keep things operational. However you would like to participate, the community has open arms, and we'd love to have you. So again, thank you, Karen. So appreciative to see you. And I told you it'd be easy, and we made it.
We did.
Yeah. High five.